Davis? What's going on, man? All right, so everybody will eventually come in. Um, Everybody eventually make their way to the stream, but I just wanted to talk about what happened. Well, it's midnight now. What happened yesterday with a fake tweet and the response from it and the reaction. And I gotta say this, and this is just real talk, and I'm gonna just keep it a buck. If I was Errol Spence, I would get on my. Now I'm not telling Errol Spence what to do. If I was Errol Spence, I would go online and I would tell my fans to knock it off because they did him a great disservice. Whoever put up that fake tweet, and then you had some of these content creators who couldn't secretly wait to start sucking and yucking up to Errol Spence to put out, Errol Spence responds to Terrence Crawford. And I'm glad it wasn't the real Errol Spence because, man, would have been such a bad look. And then Terrence Crawford ended up responding, and he had to find out that wasn't really Errol Spence. Errol Spence fans are starting to look really pathetic, and it's getting worse for them by the minute. They're really starting to look pathetic. And to sit up there and say, and then the tweet by itself was showing that they, acted kind of nervous. To say, oh, answer your phone. You talk all this ish, but you ain't picking up the phone. And Terrence Crawford like, man, what is you talking about, man? Stop lying. Because I guess they was bothered by Terrence Crawford's big fish, his big fish video or his big fish post. But it's just looking like really bad for them. They really did Errol Spence a great disservice by putting up that fake tweet. And like I said before, some of them are just getting nervous and they act like they don't want this fight to happen, which they really don't. Because you keep hearing Boots in his name. Like, this stuff is just getting ridiculous now. They just stooping to an all-time low now. Man, you putting up fake tweets under his name? I have an idea who that was too, but I ain't gonna say his name. Who would stoop to that level? Who probably would do something like that? I have an idea who would stoop to that level. But, man. What's going on? Yeah, I have an idea who would do something like that. But like I said before, man, pathetic. What's up, Timmy? What's up? What's good? I believe who I know did it though, but I ain't gonna say dude's name. He would stoop to that level and put out a fake tweet. Then you had people, content creators, making videos talking about what Errol Spence said this and Errol Spence said that, to find out that wasn't Errol Spence. What's up? I was like, man, you can't get no worse than what happened today from the Errol Spence Brigade. That was pathetic. Yeah, that was pathetic, man. Hey, they stood to an all-time. They really making Errol Spence look bad. And he need to tell his fans to knock it off. I would, but I can't tell the man what to do. You had people that couldn't wait to make videos. Bud already just said he want the damn fight. What? Boots, I don't think Boots gonna get either one of them. Because at the end of the day, he part of the next wave, like I keep telling you. If he does, I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised. I'll talk to everybody today. I'll talk to Bill Haney like yesterday morning. I'm gonna tell you what his plan is for Devin. I talked to Kenny Porter, and I'm gonna tell you what me and Kenny Porter talked about. And I chopped it up, and I chopped it up with Bernie. Yeah, Davis, absolutely. That's a fight that need to get made. But I don't think that Ortiz or Oscar is gonna make that fight right now. That's a fight that should take place. That'll be a hell of a fight. But that's just wishful thinking. I think that Boots would win that fight, but Ortiz got a puncher's chance. He do got power. He got a puncher's chance. But you would have to favor Boots Ennis to win that fight just off his natural speed and talent. And he truly got dynamite in both hands, and he's also a switch fighter, which means he can fight on either side. He can fight he can fight orthodox, or he can fight southpaw. Like when I box, if I'm just trying to use the jab, I'll switch to southpaw. Like if I'm just trying to use the jab as a measuring stick, I'll switch to southpaw. But then that's about it. But I'm orthodox. Now my son is southpaw. But yeah, like Boots is the truth. Also, Keyshawn Davis, that kid is nice. I'm trying to book him. I'm trying to get him on here, you guys. So just be patient. I'm trying to set something up. I'm trying to set something up with his people. So I'm gonna contact him. Hopefully I can get him on here. And then also I'm gonna talk to Top Rank on here within the next couple of weeks, maybe sooner. I'm gonna be honest with you. Depending on how you promote that fight, you could actually make that a mini pay-per-view. You could make that a mini pay-per-view. I think hardcore boxing fans would come see something like that if you put that in a small compact arena. Well, why do Bud got to fight both Boots and Ortiz? Why can't Errol Spence fight him? Because Boots been vocal about fighting Errol Spence because he believed that's an easier fight to get made. I just been hearing some just crazy stuff. I don't think Errol Spence or Bud is gonna fight neither one of them. Errol better flick his lighter, because he the one a couple of years ago was hollering about everybody could get free smoke. He the one that had on the Smokey the Bear hat talking about everybody could get free smoke. I just know it's been a little hesitation to give Bud the smoke, and Bud been asking for the smoke. I mean, it's like, what more do you want Bud to do? You told the man to go get a belt. He got a belt. Didn't fight him. You told the man he need to get away from Top Rank, and you still won't fight him. You said that you was going to either go directly into a Bud fight or a Ugas fight. You don't want no tune-up. But I just got a feeling that one of them sanctioning bodies is going to find a mandatory for Errol Spence, and Errol Spence is going to have to, well, he's going to say he have to honor his mandatory. I just don't believe Errol Spence is going to go directly into a fight with Terrence Crawford. I don't believe it. Sounds good, but I don't believe it. Like I said, I don't be worried about fanboys being mad at stuff. I get. Like I told you, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Ugas wouldn't have been no cakewalk for Errol Spence. What's up? Well, that is his biggest payday. Next to Canelo, but I don't think he gonna get Canelo because Canelo got other plans. Canelo then ran off with the belts, and Canelo is weighing all his options. Canelo is looking at possibly Jake Paul, Artur Beterbiev, fighting a bum. Well, I ain't gonna call the dude a bum. Fighting what you would call an easier touch at cruiserweight, because he ain't fighting no Uslik. So I can tell you that now. He ain't fighting. I can tell you, I can bet you everything I own, Canelo is not crazy enough to get in the ring with Alexander Uslik. He ain't making that fight. That would be suicide. When I say that would be career suicide for Canelo, if he was to take that fight, because it ain't gonna be nothing he can do. Canelo gonna get his ass beat if he try to fight Uslik, and he gonna get beat down bad. Let me tell you something. Ugas is a 50-50 fight against Bud or Errol Spence. I think that's possibly the only fighter that I wouldn't be surprised if Bud wasn't able to stop. Because Ugas is tough. Yeah, Brown versus Beterbiev this Friday. Hey Davis, what time is it? Not Australian time, because it's gonna be Saturday for you. Because I know you in Australia, so that's gonna be Saturday for you, but it's gonna be Friday. I guess. I know the fight is in Canada, and Canada, depending on where you at, I don't know if it's on the eastern side of Canada or the western side of Canada. I think it's in Montreal, but more than likely to be on the safe side. I guess I would start to look for the fight around 6 p.m. California time. Now, depending on what happens, Mark, what time? Hey, do me a favor, Mark. Look and see what time does Artur Beterbiev. What time does Artur Beterbiev Marcus Brown start? Now I know it's gonna be a preliminary fight, or before that, because usually they just don't begin the broadcast and then they go to the main event. Well, neutral. Canelo is gonna be paying close attention to this fight. If Artur Beterbiev looks vulnerable, or he looks like he lost a step, then it wouldn't surprise me if Canelo goes back up there to light heavyweight and tries to fight Artur Beterbiev. Because keep in mind, Top Rank said that they wouldn't mind doing a showcase with Canelo. And this is why I keep telling you, Canelo is leaving himself open. He's not going to commit to a long-term contract with anybody. He may just be an in-and-out guy, like In-N-Out Burger. I do one fight with this promotional company. I do one fight with that promotional company. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? He already said he's not fighting David Benavidez for another 2 years. So, okay. Why worry about it? But depending on how Benavidez looks on Friday, don't be surprised if Canelo says, "Hey, I may go back up to 175." Well, the problem with these fighters this day and age, these guys would rather fight on social media than fight in the actual ring. You get all these threats and all this kind of stuff about, I'm gonna do this to you, I'm gonna do that to you, I'm gonna whoop your ass, and then they won't never send these dudes a contract. Then they'll say, oh, well, I can't make the fight because you with this promotional company versus that promotional company. So you just get a lot of capping, which make me sick to my stomach, because all of these guys, to a certain degree, is full of it. Which yesterday when I reported the news, what was going on with Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman about them possibly beefing over bread. Well, this is no surprise, because you had heard a lot of things in the background about stuff that was going on, and that the PBC well is running kind of dry. So is anybody surprised by this? There were all kind of reports that the PBC was having money issues. Now, you know, you had one dude try to sit up there and toot his own horn like he discovered this, like he broke the story, when everybody knew this anyway to begin with. And talking about he's always right. Yeah, okay. No, you're not. No, you're not. So behind the scenes, a lot of people knew what was going on with the PBC. I'd heard rumblings about this for a while. I heard a couple of years ago. And I think that's good, that for the most part that these dudes was getting paid a certain amount of money. But then to a certain degree, you might have been overcompensating them for certain fights that wasn't worth what you paid them. And then you could have got more money if you would have been willing to collaborate and put together pay-per-view shows with other promotional companies, put together marquee fights, and put together good pay-per-views where everybody would have profited, but you didn't want to share the money with nobody. And you wanted to make these in-house fights, which everybody accused Bob Arum of doing, which Bob Arum did do it at one time, where he was making all these in-house fights. And then the PBC turned around and pretty much did the same thing for the most part. So now look where they're at. I've been hearing about these money issues. So this is no surprise. No surprise. A lot of people knew this behind the scenes. Where I'm lying. Now keep in mind, when I first got on YouTube, I predicted anybody else. I predicted 2 years before it happened that HBO was going to be out of the boxing business. I had already heard this stuff about the PBC, that they had money issues, but I didn't want it out there, because if I would have put this out there, I would have been accused of hating and trying to tear down the black man and all. And no, that's not the case. That's not the case. Nah, that's not the case. I don't want the PBC to fail, but at the end of the day, man, the PBC wasn't doing good business, because they could have made some good fights outside of PBC where they could have profited and everybody made some money. But then, you know, they got caught up in vendettas and shit. Floyd and Al Heyman. So now Floyd and Al Heyman at odds allegedly over money, which that Floyd's fight with Logan Paul didn't do good. Been saying that the PBC was inflating their numbers, not just with Tank, with your other favorite fighter. I've been telling y'all that. It's like they had that pay-per-view with the Chalos, and they tried to say it did 200,000. That pay-per-view did like 80 grand. Y'all gonna have to excuse me in the area that I'm in. You know, I'm buffering a little bit. Hold on right quick. I don't know. Is it safe to come over there? I mean, tickets to Australia are very expensive. I might would have to start a GoFundMe or something to come over there. So, I mean, and I don't have no damn passport, so it's highly unlikely. So, Lomachenko is going to Australia to fight George Kambosos Jr. A lot. Last time I checked, rail trip to Australia was in the thousands. And then you got to go to a certain, and then some of the parts, from what I heard, is not open. So they're gonna have to, I got to figure out, like, am I gonna go to Sydney, Melbourne? It just like I like it would take a lot. I'd have to, and then another thing about flying to Australia, y'all time zone is so difficult, because you really gonna have to like figure out, okay, that's gonna be that would be a long ass flight. I'm talking about you'll be on an airplane for literally a day, depending on who you fly through. I know they got something out there called Australia. Yeah, that would be very difficult, because the time difference is so different. You know, you're talking about an 18-hour time difference. So then trying to fly back, you're gonna be like, damn. You literally gonna be on the plane for like 2 days, or a day and a half. But I talked to Bill earlier this morning. Devin Haney is still in the running. He's still in, Devin Haney is still in the running. It's, don't count Deb out. They still in the running. It's really gonna come down to who George Kambosos Jr. decide to fight. Yes, 19-hour time difference. That's what I was trying to tell you. So I thought it was 18, so it's actually 19. The San Francisco is the next city over. What I don't understand, Devin Haney's belt, let's just say he won that fight. He is, what I say, he would be the true undisputed champion. He would have 5 belts. He would have 5 belts. They said he undisputed now with an asterisk, but I'm talking about he fight Devin and he beat Devin. I'm talking about he's the true 135, champion. I mean, if you fight Lomachenko, you really just fighting Lomachenko for his name. You really just fight Lomachenko for name's sake. Like I said, at the end of the day, Lomachenko got a name, but Devin Haney, you fight Devin Haney, you beat Devin Haney. and you get Devin Haney WBC belt, not franchise belt, you have 5 belts. Because we all know that the franchise belt was a made-up, fabricated belt that was just supposed to be considered a, just a sportsmanship conduct, like belt. It wasn't even an actual belt. And then keep in mind, Lomachenko asked to be made franchise champion because he didn't want to fight Devin Haney. And I couldn't believe that Lomachenko told that boldface, and it was a lie, where he said none of them fighters won't call him out. And Devin Haney been calling Lomachenko out. So I don't know how Lomachenko could fix his mouth to say something like that. Then, not to mention, I'm just keeping it 100. From Lomachenko that told lies before, and he done got caught in lies. Just like when Boslick knocked out Adonis Stevenson, and they was cutting his face off the belt. No need to do that. And I talked to Boslick. I talked to Alexander Boslick. I talked to him in LA when he was getting ready to fight Arthur Beterbiev. And I was talking to him. And he apologized. He apologized to Adonis Stevenson, and I appreciated that. But then what made me mad, they said, "Oh, we didn't know that he got taken out on the stretcher." And then while they celebrating, there's a TV screen right behind them, and you can see Adonis Stevenson getting taken out in the stretcher. And Adonis Stevenson was in a coma. So that's another lie that Lomachenko told. He just got a tendency of not showing no class. And didn't make every excuse in the book. Oh, maybe he didn't see it. How could he not have saw it when the TV was like right behind him? If I could see it, then I know he saw it. So Lomachenko got a history of not showing class and being classless. Just like he did that goofy stuff this past Saturday. Instead of him continuing to fight, he gonna pause and look at Kami's corner and say, "Y'all go stop this fight." No, they didn't stop the fight, and you couldn't stop them neither. Look, I'm a realist with mine. I'm not finna sit up there and give somebody a pass. It don't matter who I deal with. That was classless, and Lomachenko got a history of doing that kind of stuff. Like I said, I swear to God, let Floyd Mayweather had did something like that, people would have went ape shit. They would have been like, "Oh my God, did you see what Floyd did?" Let Floyd had cut somebody's face off a belt if Floyd had put him on the stretcher. You would have had people say Floyd should be fined, he should be suspended, he has no class, he's this, he's that. But yet, so this is like the second time Lomachenko that did something that was classless. Like, come on, man, just continue to fight. Like, for real. Just continue to fight and leave it at that. But no, he did that goofy stuff. That was whack. That was whack what he did. Like I said, let Floyd have did that. Oh man, just fight. Just show some sportsmanship. But they always try to change the narrative, and that's why I don't really care for Lomachenko. I cover him because I have to, but I'm not a Lomachenko fan. I do not care for the guy that much. I'm not a big fan of Vasily Lomachenko. I'm just not. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't, sis. He was showboating. He was showboating, trying to show his ass. And it ain't, he don't need to show no kindness. It's not up to him to say whether the fight should be stopped. It's up to the referee or the corner or the fight doctor. Those are the only people who can stop a fight. The referee, the fight doctor, or the corner of the opponent. He was showing off. He was showing off, and he was acting like a jerk. And then couldn't even stop the dude. And couldn't even stop Kami. Like I said, let that have been Tank that it did that. You would have seen all kind of videos soon. Oh, this is unnecessary. And you have to wonder what the ESPN team had the same sentiments had that have been Tank. You would have probably seen him say, well, it's no reason for that. He was just showing, Lomachenko was just showing off. But it's funny, he sure wasn't that animated when he was getting whooped on by Teofimo Lopez. Where was that, where was that animation? Where was that when you was getting whooped on by Teofimo Lopez? Keep the same energy, homeboy. Keep the same energy. Like Kid and Play say, energy. 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 Keep the same. He didn't have that same energy when he was getting whooped on by Teofimo. He wasn't doing all that showboat when he was backing up. When he was backing up for the first half of the fight. I can make an argument that Lomachenko was running. But that label is only for that running label, that's only for black fighters. They only say, they only say that we be running. And Lomachenko tried to avoid, for the first half of the fight, he tried to avoid contact. And I don't want to hear this stuff about his shoulders was banged up, because Lomachenko was throwing combos the second half of the fight. And if his shoulder was so banged up, why did it look like Lomachenko almost was on the verge of stopping Teofimo Lopez? I can't remember whether it was the 8th or 9th round, but it looked like he was about to stop Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo Lopez, he got it together, and he finished strong. Same thing with Manny Pacquiao, talking about he had a shoulder injury. Manny Pacquiao was throwing combinations throughout the fight. You never heard Manny in his corner say, hey man, my shoulder is hurting. But you seen Tank versus Cruz, who was clearly hurt. Hand was clearly messed up. They showed Tank's hand. You heard Tank say he was in pain and saying that he think his hand is messed up. And they said, hey, just use one hand. And Tank, he jabbed Cruz to death in the last round to secure the fight. But Tank didn't get called a warrior. But at the end of the day, I got to get on Tank. I'm a fan of Tank, but it's time for Tank to start fighting better guys. Had Tank and Rolly would have been allowed to happen, which I don't even know why they pulled the plug on that fight. Because Rolly still hasn't been arrested. They might as well have let Rolly fight. Might as well. Rolly hasn't even been arrested or charged with anything. So this is another reason why, I'm looking kind of side-eye at the PBC. Why didn't you just let the dude fight? That didn't make no kind of sense. Rolly ain't been arrested. He ain't been charged. So why did you make that dude pull out of that fight? He should have been allowed to fight. So now, from what I hear, they might do Tank versus Rolly. Yep, you heard it here first. So from what I hear, they might actually do that fight now. They may actually do Tank versus Rolly now. That may be Tank's next fight. He doesn't have a rematch clause with Cruz, so he doesn't have to fight Cruz again. I would fight Cruz again if I was Tank, but due to the fact that the fight did so poorly with pay-per-views, I understand. But to a certain degree, they did it to themselves. If Tank had fought Gary Russell Jr., that fight would have did way better numbers than what it did. Had Tank originally fought Rolly like he was scared, like he was supposed to do. I'm not going to say he was scared. Had Tank originally fought Rolly, it would have did better. But they replaced him with a dude that basically nobody heard of, that you had seen fighting in the bubble, that didn't really have a name, and they tried to put it on pay-per-view and it failed. 50,000 times 70 is 3.5 million, I think. So that's all they made in pay-per-view sales off that fight. That ain't enough for Tank to get a bonus. All that money is probably going to Showtime. So they didn't even turn a profit. Showtime probably lost money on that fight. So like I said, it did poorly. And you knew something was strange when Steven Espinosa seemed to get frustrated when you would ask him, hey, Steven, how much? Ain't even, man. That fight went double thumbtack. That's how poorly that fight did. That fight did double thumbtack. And what I mean by thumbtack, the actual poster for the fight was more valuable than the fight. If Showtime don't be careful, Showtime is going to be headed where HBO is headed. They're going to be out of the boxing business too. That's why they're going to make sure, like I keep telling you, this is why they brought Canelo back. This is why they don't try to make sure that fake Paul keep winning those. Because they want that option of Canelo versus Paul. Because they feel like that could be the new or the next Floyd, Conor McGregor. But they have to keep Jake Paul winning, so they're gonna be careful about who they put in the ring with him. And that's another reason why Canelo is gonna try out cruiserweight. Because if he fights fake Paul, it's gonna have to be at probably around 190. So you have to see, could Canelo comfortably, fight at 190 and still be effective. Y'all have to understand how this works. Well, Fox want to return. Now you could have also what you could have. You might have Fox get involved in negotiations with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. You might have Fox say, you know what, we'll foot the bill for this because Fox want to return. You know what's so funny? If that is true, that would actually do better numbers than Canelo versus Fake Paul. So if that is true, yeah, Canelo might want to look at that. If Usman can make like $60 million to get his ass beat by Canelo, because that's what's going to happen, he should do it. Now let's just hope Dana White would sign off on something like that. I mean, he signed off on Conor McGregor, but let's see what he signed off on Usman. But yeah, that would be way better. That would do way better numbers than Canelo. Plus, people would turn in for other reasons as well. But if the money is there, I actually would watch something like that. I would watch something like that, but I already know the end results. But I would watch it. I would watch it though, because at the end of the day, Usman may get his ass beat, but walking away with $50-60 million. Canelo may make his $100 million. Here's the thing though, Usman hasn't lost. But like I said, Canelo versus Usman doing like 3 million pay-per-views. It at the minimum is doing 3 million pay-per-views. You're gonna have the boxing fans, you're gonna have the UFC fans. That fight gonna do numbers if that is true. I'm gonna look into that. That's real talk. Okay, so let me talk about something else. Ain't a trained boxer. You talking about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, like him or not, is one of the best that ever did it. You know. But I think Usman would pick it up. I think he could pick it up real quick, but he's not beating Canelo. But I would watch it. But yeah, this is me talking about. You can't compare Floyd to Usman. Nah, you can't do that. I mean, the math is there. Like I said, the math is there. But I'll be talking. I'm driving by the water, so y'all gotta bear with me. But I talked to her, and Kenny Porter basically told me to tell anybody that think that he was paid to tank. He saw something that fixed. The fight wasn't remotely fixed. It's just acidine, cornball behavior by the Errol Spence breed, because apologists got nervous seeing Sean Porter get stopped by Terrence Crawford. And that's all it came down to. That's why you had a lot of these nut jobs saying that the fight was fixed. And then I saw another cornball, you know what I'm saying? I saw another cornball like trying to co-sign that. But no, the fight was not fixed. Kenny Porter was not paid any money. He did not take a dive. Sean did not take a dive. Okay? That was just some fabrication concocted by the Errol Spence Brigade. Because some of them, not all of them, but some of them were shaking in their boots about Bud fighting. When I say it was cap, it was cap. It was queen boy behavior. Fight wasn't fixed. It just show you how pathetic some of these Errol. That just shows you how they roll. You know, like I said, the Errol Spence fans exposed themselves, and they're doing Errol Spence a great disservice with their nut job behavior. Their nut job behavior is really kind of disturbing. Just keeping it a buck. But anyway.